Angel Reese is out with another injury. It is her back again, and she's going to miss Friday's game. Now, we know she was dealing with a leg injury earlier in the season, and now she's dealing with this back injury again, and she has been wearing a brace on her shooting wrist, the same wrist she hurt the end of the season and then during Unrivaled. So Angel is dinged up, and it looks like it's catching up with her, and she's going to be out again with that same back injury. And I think she played that last game where she had 22 points and 12 rebounds. I think she played that because it was back home, and it was her first time her grandmother was able to see her play in person as a pro. I think she just toughed it out, and I think a lot of us would do the same thing. When Angel got drafted, she had her grandma at the table, gave her grandma a big kiss when she got drafted. So I think that game was a legacy moment for her family. Her brother was there. Her mom was there. I think she just toughed it out for the family. Like, that's the thing about family and, like, the elders in our family. We got to enjoy those moments while, you know, those people are still around and in our lives, because we just don't know where life will take things. So for her grandma to finally be able to see her play as a pro, that's probably the reason she was even on the court in the last game. Now, like I said, she doesn't get a lot of credit for playing through injuries and stuff like that. But at the end of the season last year, we seen it happen. She had a wrist injury and had I think a hair fracture surgery. And I seen people discredit that and try to say she quit and things of that nature. And that's just silly talk. That's just like, oh, you have to be a hater to see a pro athlete in a cast and still say they're faking. She's not faking what she's going through. She had an injury like any other athlete. 99.9% of athletes we've all seen had some sort of injury. So the wrist thing is what happened at the end of last season, and I believe she missed 7 or 8 games last year at the end of the season, and she had her surgery. She recovered, and then she went to Unrivaled, and she balled out, became defensive player of the year. But right before the playoffs, she re-injured the same injury and had to sit out the playoffs. And we, even as fans, we didn't see her post a lot of workout stuff because she probably was just recovering. It's her shooting wrist. That's insanely important. And so she ramped it up right before the season and got back to working out. And we see so much growth in her game this year, and we've all been excited. And she's the point forward, and not even forget stats. The eye test tells you the stuff she worked on, like those videos people made fun of. Why is she doing a tween pull up in her workouts? Well, we've seen it translate this year, and it's been popping its head out. Jump shots, ball handling, passing the ball. She was already great with defense and playing the passing lanes or picking somebody's pocket one-on-one. And we just seen all that starting to translate that from that off-season workout stuff she was doing. But it looks like she did have that leg injury that she missed one of the games against the Lynx right before the All-Star break. And we have to remember she suffered a major leg injury in college. She had to get a rod put in her leg, which limitates a lot of her vertical movement. If you notice, Angel does a lot of horizontal movement. If she's on a fast break, she kind of finishes low and puts it up there and keeps going, because maybe going vertical, it's affected by the leg injury. And so at the beginning, right before the All-Star break, she did have a leg injury again. I don't know if it's connected to what happened when she was in college, but she did have a leg injury, and she came back, and then all of a sudden she played the first game after All-Star, but now she's dealing with a back injury. And back injuries are scary. Sometimes they creep up on you, and sometimes you feel amazing, and then the next day you feel like you can barely walk. And so maybe she is dealing with some of those things to where it's her back and she has to figure it out. Now, the Sky, I don't know if they're even playing for the playoffs. I think Ariel and Angel would have to be at full strength right now for them to make a push to the playoffs. So I don't know if that's like top priority right now. So the Sky may need to focus on developing their core. They have a lot of vets on one-year deals. Most of the league right now will be free agents next year. So I think the rest of the season might be focused on Milla, Angel, Maddie, and Haley. It kind of makes sense. I mean, I don't know if they can bring Sifka from overseas back over during the season. I'm not sure. I need to look into that. But I think they need to focus on building a young core. And I know Marquisha Davis signed for 7 days and she's gone, but somebody like that just sticking around to just let's go young. and figure things out instead of playing all these vets, these minutes, and these games that aren't going to end in a long playoff run or a playoff run at all. I'm not sure if Angel and Ariel Atkins sits out. Ariel's out again this game too. If they sit out another 2 or 3 games, like the likelihood of making the playoffs are almost gone. Michaela is out again, or not out. She's questionable, and Haley's questionable. So I think for the next 10 to 15 games that are left, I think the focus might be to let's build towards the future. Unfortunately, we didn't do that in the offseason. We gave up the number 3 pick. So that moment we were not focused on building a young core, but all these injuries might be humbling to the organization, and the organization might need to say, let's take a step back and build young and focus on our future, because we do have a lot of vets, but even with the vets we have, we don't have the vets that's going to take us to a playoff run. So again, it might be best to put the ball in Haley and Maddie's hand, and Milla, if she's healthy, put it in those 3 hands and let them do what they have to do until Angel is back to being 100. And maybe, the last 7 games, all 4 of them are kind of just running the show to start developing for the future. Because right now we're not a win now team. We are a hopefully we can win in the future team. And you don't have a long time with the sophomores. They're in their 2nd year. I believe their first contract was for 4 years. So the door will start knocking on what's the future and who are you going to build around, and what does the Chicago Sky look like in their future. Do you want to still run with Angel and Milla together? Do you want to let one of them go and maybe get a piece that is a wing piece, because they're both bigs who I don't know what they want to focus on, but this next 10-game stretch and then the off season going into next year is kind of vital and important. So do you want to focus on building your young core and building a culture through them, or are you just going to let the vets play it out and just we'll go on the next season wishing for the best? So I know the injury, seeing, our face of the franchise, that's who she just is. She's dang near the face of the league. Seeing her out and down, it's not fun. I was looking forward to the game on Friday to be a competitive game, but if we're missing Ariel, we're missing Angel. Vandersloot is gone. Michaela's questionable. Haley is questionable. If we're rolling the ball out without those 5-6 people, it might not be the greatest game to tap in and tune into, but I've been looking forward to some Sky basketball all week, and it looks like it might be a little shaky tomorrow for the game that we are going to have. But at the end of the day, availability is your best ability, and if Angel doesn't get as close to 100% healthy, this might affect her in the long run. So right now, yes, it doesn't feel good. It sucks. I want to see some Sky ball. I want to see Angel ball out. I want to see us healthy, but if that's going to hinder what could be in the next 10 years, then we'll sacrifice the next 5 to 7 games of her just getting herself back healthy. Make sure you like and subscribe. I'm AJ. This is my mic. Peace.